I don't know. It's Jenny Clouston here, sorry. It's me. I'm in a daydream. It's me, Jenny Clouston. I'm waiting for those kookaburras to just go. But anyway, I am, as you know, trying to get this quilt finished as soon as I possibly can for my daughter's best friend who's having a baby pretty soon. So I'm nearly there. I'm 3/4 of the way quilting it, so it's working really well, and I'm hand quilting. The other day when I was working on it, I put the camera on and I videoed, did a short little video of me hand quilting, and I just chatted about all sorts of nonsense. But I thought that, you know, we all have different, you know, tools and methods of doing something, and I don't know if you would be interested in how I do mine. So like all of us stitches, I like to containerize my things, you know, but I don't like plastic. So I always find things that I've made or, you know, sentimental to me, and I keep my stuff in there. And this is a little Marschma that I use. I've got quite a few of these. The pattern of this is on my website, just a little hoo-hoo. But why I like them is that they're very small and they kind of fit in my hand perfectly. Let's talk needles. Now, because I am using on this quilt nice big fat juicy stitches, I'm using it's not a tightly woven crochet cotton, so that I have to have a decent sized needle. And I am using an embroidery crewel needle. She is a nice and short and fat needle, and she's quite strong because I do a rocking motion with my technique. And so this needle I don't want to bend. She is a little bit different. There's a chenille needle, so she's also nice and big and chubby with a really big eye. But if I had to hand quilt with that would be quite tough, because pulling that big eye through the work all the time would be hard work, and I wouldn't enjoy that. The next thing I have in my little bag is a quilting teaspoon. So obviously this goes underneath your quilt, and it helps you know, with your rocking motion. And if I am working on a really big quilt and I'm quilting for a long period of time, I ring the changes. So I will use this sometimes, or else I will simply, as you can see, use my finger to just push up and make sure that I've gone through all my layers. So it's either my finger or this, depending on how I'm going. Same thing with my thimbles. I, majority of the time, will quilt using my middle finger with the pressure of the needle coming into the thimble. So I make sure that the thimble has got nice big dimples and the ridge is nice and thick, because I do not want the needle to slip off the thimble and land in my finger, because we use quite a lot of force with hand quilting, especially when you're going through quite a few layers. Once again, I ring the changes. If the quilt is quite big and I'm quilting for hours, I either use this one or I change to this thimble. And so therefore I'm having it on my index finger and the pressure is there as opposed to the top. So I just do that to just save my hands, and I look after my hands very well. And obviously I've got a ring cutter in there and a small pair of scissors. So that is my sewing goodie. Those are my sewing goodies. Now, to mark my quilts, most of the time, if not all the time, I use a cross hatching pattern, which is very traditional, and they're just simply straight lines, parallel lines that interconnect and either create squares or diamonds. It's very traditional, and I don't mark my whole quilt. I simply mark the sections that I am quilting at that time. So there's no pressure, and obviously I use a nice big ruler to line up. And then, because I don't really like to mark my quilts with anything other than a chalk pencil, and sometimes, as you know, I will use a water erasable one, but this is a hero marker. It's a little bit dirty from rubbing against there, but all it really does is, if you press it really hard, it forms a crease line in your, I don't know if you can see it there, it forms a press line in your work, and I follow that. So that's a hero marker, one of my favorite tools. And as I said, if I don't use that, I will use a water soluble one or a chalk pencil. And also to stop my ball of quilting crochet cotton from rolling away. I will put it into some kind of bowl, and this was given to me by one of the women in my who comes to my classes, and it's actually a coconut. It's a coconut shell. Thanks, Cheryl. So there you go. So once again, if this is a video on hand quilting, so if that doesn't tickle your pickle, you might want to give this video a miss, but it might get you hand quilting. You never know. Hope you enjoy it. So this little baby floor quilt that I'm making for my daughter's best friend is well, I'm halfway finished hand quilting it. So we don't have any family around us this Easter, where I'm depressed. But anyway, so that means I've got really a lot of time to get this finished, and I am hand quilting, and I love a bit of hand quilting. You know, anything that I don't have to sit and use my machine for, I'm a happy camper. I don't know how much you're actually going to see of this. Now, I'm not doing small little stitches. I'm doing nice, relaxed, juicy ones. And I'm just doing cross hatching. As you know, is simply squares and that form a pattern. And it's going well, and I'm excited. This little quilt is for a little girl. So it's kind of like a little ray of sunshine. Woohoo! Now, normally when I mark my hand quilting, I mark as I go, and I use a ruler, obviously, and a hero marker, which is actually just I think they used to be made out of bone back in the day. This is just black from, anyway. And all I do is I just take it out the hoop, and I press it really hard along that line, and it forms a crease line that I can see. I'm not sure if you can see that, but sometimes when I'm going through quite a few layers and dark fabrics, especially outside, if I was inside I would be able to see that line. I can't see the straight line here, so I'm just going to use a blue pen to just draw this here. I don't know if I can actually see it. The needle that I'm using is a darner, so it's a short, I don't know if this is a darner or if it's a crewel. I think this is a crewel needle. So she's a very strong little short squat needle. There, I don't know if you can see it. And the reason why I'm only taking one stitch or maybe two at a time here. Am I heading in the right direction, peeps? Haley, you'll be able to tell me. You know, my perfectionist who watches me. And yeah, anyway, so I'm just having to take one stitch at a time because there's so many layers, and I need to make sure I'm heading in the wrong direction, peeps. Let's have a look here. If this is here, that's got to go there, Jennifer. Genade, meisie mens. Darn it. It's really wrong. So I'll have to unpick that. You see, when you knit a natter, I'm just going to draw that there. Haley, did you see me making that mistake? Anyway, while I unpluck these stitches, thanks Mel for the word. You know, sometimes when I do these YouTube, as you all know, I'm still kind of, you know, I don't know what I'm doing here on this YouTube or whatever, but sometimes I get, oh, why am I doing it? And then somebody will email me, and they will send me an email, and I will just go, oh my hat. So, for example, this lovely lady, Marguerite, she emailed me, and she's unfortunately having to spend Easter in hospital. But her title of her video was Bedside Joy. Not a video, Jennifer. Sorry. Hang on a minute. I'm going through all these layers. There you go. And it was Bedside Joy. And she had obviously been doing some of my stitching, and she had my threads. And firstly, Marguerite, your work is lovely. It's just joyous. It really is. You called your email Bedside Joy, and it was. And I was so pleased, and I really made my heart, I was tearful, I'll have to be honest, that firstly, that this very ill woman had taken the time to email me and to say, you know, thank you for inspiring me, blah, blah, blah. And Donna, it was just, yeah, there's many people. Mary always sends me such beautiful emails and messages. I always think that Mary should write a book. Alfina, you know, there's so many people out there that I had no idea that these funny little videos that I make have a place. Have a place for you. And yeah, look, it's very humbling, and I thank you so much. Oh, did you hear my neighbor sneeze? Goeie genade, amazing mens. Oh, I tell you what, Marina and Candy, I was trying to teach my grandchildren how to speak Afrikaans when I was there. Oh, it was so funny, because they don't get the, you know, that clearing of your throat. They snort it out, and I was nearly wetting my pants. It was the funniest thing. So little sappers, they are not, but doesn't mean to say I'm not going to make sure that they have a little bit of sapper in them. Anyway, this might not seem as though I'm very relaxed and enjoying this, because it's quite tough to get through here, but oh, feeling that needle go through all those layers and rocking. Oh, I must show you the backing of this. So as I said, this quilt needs to be finished soon, because I'm going to Sydney on Friday to teach at the wonderful Green Door, and I need to take it with me. Isn't that lovely? I am so happy with that. It's just lovely. This quilt is coming out quite dark in this video, so it's not as dark as this. It's very pretty and summery and fresh. So anyway, that's my little hand quilting video. I don't know how good it is, or if it was any use to you. Oh yeah, so I use a sort of, I think it's a crewel needle. Yeah, it is a crewel. A darn is bigger and longer. So you can see there she is, nice and strong, because I've got to sort of rock her. I use a hero marker to mark and a ruler. And I use, this time around, I'm using a crochet cotton. And to keep it all together, this is from Cheryl. It's made from a coconut. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, so I don't know where I'm going to pop this video or whatever else, but thank you so much for your time. And you know what, the really good news, I can see some rainbow lorikeets in the bird feeder. Of happy days.